Freedom, it's a word we hear constantly, something we strive for, fight wars over, and celebrate as a cornerstone of human dignity. In most modern societies, freedom is treated like the highest ideal. The freedom to speak, to choose, to live on your own terms. But what if freedom isn't just a gift? What if it's also a burden? The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre once wrote, "Man is condemned to be free." Asterisk at first glance, that sounds strange. How can freedom be a condemnation? Isn't freedom supposed to be the key to happiness? To understand this, we have to dive deeper into what Sartre meant. For him, human beings are radically free, not just politically, but existentially. We are not born with a fixed purpose. There is no divine script or universal truth telling us who we are or what we should do. We are blank canvases at birth, and it is up to each of us to paint our own identity through our actions and choices. That might sound liberating, but Sartre believed this freedom comes with an enormous price. Because if nothing and no one can define our purpose, then we alone are responsible for giving our lives meaning. There are no external authorities to rely on, no God, no fate, no society that can tell us the right path. That total responsibility can feel overwhelming. It's like standing in an open field with no roads, no signs, no directions, just endless possibility, and we are told choose, go. In that moment, something frightening happens. We realize that every decision we make defines not only what we do, but who we are. Choose to forgive someone and you become a person who forgives. Choose to walk away and you define yourself as someone who walks away. In Sartre's view, we are constantly building ourselves through our choices. There is no essence or nature behind us, only action. This is what he means by being condemned to freedom. We didn't ask for it. We didn't choose to be born, but here we are free, responsible, and with no escape. And with that freedom comes anxiety. What if we choose wrong? What if we disappoint ourselves? What if, after making all these choices, we still don't feel fulfilled? This kind of anxiety is different from ordinary fear. It's existential. It comes from knowing that nothing is decided for us. There is no ground beneath our feet, no safety net, no final answer. Just freedom, just choice, just us. This leads many people to hide from their freedom. Sartre called this bad faith asterisk, a kind of self-deception where we pretend we don't have a choice. We might say, I have to stay in this job, or that's just the way I was raised, or I can't change now, it's too late. But Sartre would say these are lies, convenient lies, because the truth is, we always have a choice. Even refusing to choose is, in itself, a choice. The discomfort we feel, what we call stress, indecision, or pressure, is often the weight of our freedom pressing down on us. We want someone else to choose for us, to tell us what to do, but in the end, that's not how life works. No one can live for you. And so, we arrive at the paradox of freedom. We want it, we need it, but when we truly face it, we realize how terrifying it can be. In a world without absolute truth or predetermined roles, we are not only free to act, to define ourselves. There is no escape from that responsibility. But maybe that's not a curse after all. Maybe, just maybe, it's the start of something powerful. If freedom is the starting point, then responsibility is its shadow, always following, always present. Jean-Paul Sartre didn't just say we are free to choose. He insisted that with that freedom comes total, inescapable responsibility. This might sound empowering at first, but if we really stop and think about it, it's not just about choosing what to eat or where to go. It's about owning every part of our existence. We are responsible for who we are, what we do, and even how we interpret the world around us. And that's where the true weight of freedom reveals itself. Sartre believed there's no higher power assigning meaning to our lives. No pre-written roles, no divine judge, just us making choices every day that shape not only our own lives, but also express what we believe a human life should be. Because in Sartre's view, when we choose for ourselves, we are also choosing for all of humanity. That's a bold idea. Think about it. Every time we act, whether with kindness, cruelty, courage, or fear, we are saying, this is what I believe a person should do in this situation. Our choices become silent blueprints for how to live. That level of responsibility is intimidating. Most people don't want that kind of pressure. We'd rather believe we're just following the rules, just doing our job, just living the way we were taught. But according to Sartre, that's a form of bad faith, a denial of our freedom by pretending we're not truly in control. We say things like, I had no choice, or that's just how the world works, or I was just being realistic. These aren't explanations, they're escapes. They let us off the hook from the frightening truth that we are the authors of our own identity, even when we pretend we aren't. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a person who works a job they hate every single day. They say, I can't quit, I have bills, I have obligations, I have no other option. And maybe that's partially true, but from Sartre's lens, it's still a choice. That person is choosing to stay, choosing to value security over freedom, choosing to endure rather than revolt. Even if the options are difficult or painful, there are always options. And that's what makes the responsibility so heavy, because we can never truly say, I had no choice. Every action we take is an expression of what we value, even if unconsciously. But this idea isn't meant to make us feel guilty. It's meant to wake us up. Sartre isn't saying we're bad people for choosing safety, comfort, or habit. He's saying we should own those choices, not hide from them. If we acknowledge that we're responsible, we regain control. We stop being victims of life and start becoming its creators. The person who chooses to stay in a difficult job for their family is not a coward. They are a person who values care and sacrifice. That's not weakness, it's authenticity. But they must own it. They must say, this is my choice. This is who I choose to be. Responsibility in this sense is not about blame, it's about awareness. The more conscious we are of our freedom, the more intentional our life becomes. Instead of drifting, we steer. Instead of reacting, we create. That's the existential challenge. To face ourselves honestly, without excuses, and to live as though our choices matter, because they do. But this isn't easy. It's not glamorous. It's not quick. It often involves discomfort, change, and even pain. And yet, through that process, something powerful emerges. Dignity. Not the dignity given by birth, status, or title, but the kind of dignity that comes from living deliberately, from saying, this is who I am. Not because the world told me to be this, but because I chose it. And that's the key. Sartre believed that meaning isn't found, it's created. Every time we act with awareness, we carve out a piece of meaning in a meaningless universe. It's not easy, but it's real, and that's more than enough. Modern life offers us more freedom than ever before. We can choose our careers, partners, beliefs, even identities. From what to eat for breakfast to what to believe about the universe, the range of options is dizzying. And that's precisely the problem. As freedom expands, so does the pressure. Instead of feeling liberated, many of us feel lost. This is what existential thinkers like Søren, Kierkegaard, and Jean-Paul Sartre recognized. That unlimited choice often leads to paralysis, not empowerment. Kierkegaard called this the dizziness of freedom. It's that feeling of standing on the edge of infinite possibilities, aware that every step you take closes off 1,000 other paths. You could become anything, do anything, believe anything, but you can't do everything. The moment you choose, you limit yourself. And that limitation, that narrowing down of life's infinite roads, is what gives rise to anxiety. Not the kind of fear you feel when something is chasing you, but a deep, quiet kind of dread that whispers, what if I make the wrong choice? This anxiety is built into the very structure of freedom. Sartre believed that, since there's no fixed human nature, we are always in the process of becoming. We create ourselves through what we do. So every decision isn't just a preference, it's a definition of who we are. Choosing a job, for example, isn't just about paying the bills. It says something about your values. Are you chasing success, stability, creativity, security? These aren't simple choices. They shape your entire identity. But here's the catch. Modern society doesn't just give us choices. It demands that we choose constantly, and ideally, choose well. Social media shows us thousands of versions of a perfect life. Every scroll is a reminder of the lives we could be living. We start comparing, doubting, second guessing. Am I doing enough? Am I living the right life? Should I be more ambitious, more spiritual, more successful? We're bombarded with the illusion that there's one ideal path, and we're probably missing it. Psychologist Barry Schwartz described this problem in modern terms with the phrase, the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the harder it is to choose, and the less satisfied we feel once we do. Because when there are hundreds of paths, choosing one feels like giving up all the others. That fear of missing out, is not new. It's an existential fear, deeply tied to freedom itself. This fear often pushes people into indecision or regret. We delay important choices, waiting for the perfect option, or we make a choice, then constantly wonder if another would have been better. In extreme cases, we fall into nihilism, the belief that none of it matters, that meaning itself is an illusion. Why bother choosing at all? But this line of thinking, Sartre would argue, is a refusal to face the truth of our existence. We must choose. Even not choosing is itself a choice. Even inaction defines us. So the goal is not to avoid choice, but to learn how to live with its weight, to make decisions authentically, not to please others or live up to some image, but because we've reflected and said, this is what I want my life to mean. Kierkegaard believed that the only way to deal with the anxiety of freedom is through leap of faith not necessarily religious, but existential, a leap into commitment, into action, into responsibility. Because when we commit to something truly, deeply, freedom doesn't disappear, but it becomes focused, and in that focus, we find peace, not because we have less freedom, but because we've given it direction. This doesn't mean you'll never doubt your choices. Doubt is part of freedom, but every time we act, despite the uncertainty, we affirm our humanity. We declare, I am not a product of fate. I am not a puppet. I am a creator. In a world where we are free to choose, one question becomes more important than almost any other. Are we living authentically? Existentialist thinkers, especially Jean-Paul Sartre, believed that most people spend their lives hiding from this question. We create roles, labels, routines, not just to function, but to avoid the terrifying responsibility of freedom. We run from authenticity, not because we are weak, but because it demands too much. And in its place, we fall into what Sartre called bad faith. Bad faith is not just lying to others, it's lying to ourselves. It's when we convince ourselves that we are not free, that we are just a student, just a parent, just a worker, just a victim of circumstance. We start to believe that our roles define our identity, and that we are not responsible for what we do within those roles. Sartre would argue, the moment you say I had no choice, you are already in bad faith, because the truth is, even in the most difficult situations, we are still choosing, whether it's to stay silent, to comply, to conform, or to retreat. Let's imagine a waiter in a restaurant. Sartre gives this very example. The waiter moves a certain way, speaks a certain way, behaves with exaggerated politeness, as if he is trying to be a perfect waiter. But Sartre says, this person is playing at being a waiter, as if that role is his essence. He forgets that he is a human being, first and foremost, not a function. In doing so, he avoids the deeper truth, that he could walk away, reinvent himself, choose another life. But that possibility is frightening, so he clings to the safety of a fixed identity. And this doesn't just apply to jobs. It applies to everything: gender, nationality, religion, personality types. We say, that's just how I am, when what we really mean is, this is what I've gotten used to. Authenticity means breaking that habit. It means waking up to the fact that we are not things asterisk. We are beings in motion. We are not static. We are not defined. We are becoming. Living authentically, then, is a radical act. It means refusing to hide behind roles. It means facing ourselves honestly, even when it's uncomfortable. It means admitting that we are the ones shaping our own lives, whether we like it or not. It means asking ourselves tough questions. Am I really living by my own values? or just repeating patterns? Am I doing what I believe is right, or just what's expected of me? But let's be clear, authenticity does not mean rebellion for its own sake. It's not about rejecting all structure or living without responsibility. It's about making conscious, examined choices. An authentic person might still work a 9-to-5 job, still follow a religion, still raise a family, but they do it because they chose to, not because they were told to. This kind of life takes courage. It means accepting that you can't blame the world for everything. Yes, circumstances shape us. Yes, society has expectations, but ultimately, we are not robots. We can question, we can resist, we can change. That power is terrifying, but it's also the source of meaning. Sartre believed that people often try to escape authenticity because it's easier to live as an object than a subject. It's easier to say, I am this, than to ask, what could I become? But the price of that escape is our own humanity, because when we deny our freedom, we also deny our depth. We become shallow versions of ourselves, defined by habit and fear. To live authentically is not to be perfect. It's to be honest. It's to face your freedom instead of running from it. It's to create meaning where none is given, and to take full ownership of your existence. That doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. You will, but even your mistakes will be yours. And that is far more powerful than living someone else's version of a safe life. So far, we've explored the tension between freedom and fear, responsibility and regret, possibility and paralysis. Now we reach the heart of it all. What do we do with this freedom? We can't escape it. We can't give it away. So how do we live with it, and maybe even thrive under its weight? Existentialism doesn't offer easy answers. It doesn't give us a 10-step plan for happiness or a final truth to cling to. What it gives us instead is something deeper, the recognition that, even in a world without inherent meaning, we have the power and the obligation to create meaning ourselves. In other words, freedom isn't a curse, it's an invitation. To embrace the burden of choice is to accept that we are responsible for our lives, not just the outcomes, but the values we live by. That can be frightening, yes, but it can also be empowering, because once you accept responsibility, you no longer have to wait for life to tell you who you are. You decide. You become an active participant in your own existence. As Sartre said, existence precedes essence. We exist first, and it is up to us to shape our essence through what we do, how we love, what we stand for. And this isn't a one-time act. It's a daily process. Every morning, we wake up and begin again. We face the same questions. What kind of person will I be today? Will I act out of fear or courage? Will I avoid or engage? Will I repeat yesterday? Or will I choose something new? Freedom is not something we solve. It's something we must live. So how do we live it well? First, by being honest. Authenticity starts with the willingness to look at yourself without illusion. Not to shame yourself, but to know yourself. To admit when you're hiding, when you're following the crowd, when you're choosing comfort over truth. That kind of honesty is rare, but it's essential, because only through it can you begin to choose you, the real you, not the one others expect or approve of. Second, by being intentional. Small decisions matter. They shape habits, which shape character, which shapes destiny. You don't have to solve life in a day. You just have to live today deliberately. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take one small action that says, I'm not sleepwalking, I'm here, I'm choosing this. Third, by being compassionate with others and with yourself. Freedom isn't about becoming a cold, rational decision-making machine. It's about becoming more human, which means allowing space for mistakes, for learning, for change. Don't expect yourself to always get it right. You won't, but the point is not perfection. The point is presence. And finally, by remembering this, you are not alone. Yes, existential freedom is individual. No one can live your life for you, but we are all navigating the same unknown, the same freedom, the same search for meaning. We are all, in our own way, trying to build something true in a universe that offers no blueprints. So what now? You live, you choose, you create. Not because someone told you to, but because you can. That is the gift at the heart of the burden. The weight you carry is real, but it is also sacred. It means your life is not written in advance. It means your voice matters. Your choices matter, you matter. Maybe there's no final meaning written into the stars. But maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe that's freedom. And maybe, just maybe, that freedom is the most beautiful thing we've been given. So don't run from it. Stand in it. Breathe in it. Make something with it.